The mathematical case against Darwinian evolution. Darwin's theory of evolution by natural selection is one of the cornerstones of modern biology, offering a materialistic explanation for the gradual emergence of life's diversity. Yet, as our understanding of biology deepens, significant challenges to this framework have emerged, particularly in explaining the origin of complex life forms and the rapid appearance of major biological innovations. The initial appeal and growing challenges. Darwin's claim was that small, beneficial adaptations accumulate over time through natural selection, gradually shaping new species. This mechanism offered a narrative that explained how simple life forms could evolve into the vast diversity of organisms we see today. However, further research in paleontology, molecular biology, and developmental biology has revealed falsifiers in this narrative that show that Darwinian mechanisms are not sufficient to explain all of life's complexity. The Cambrian explosion, a sudden flourishing of complexity. One of the most striking challenges to Darwinian gradualism is the Cambrian explosion. About 500 million years ago, the fossil record reveals a sudden burst of complex, multicellular animal forms that appear abruptly and with fully formed body plans. In many cases, there are no clear transitional forms linking these novel creatures to earlier, simpler life. Initially estimated to span 70 million years, further research has refined the Cambrian explosion to a window as short as 5–6 million years in some sites. This is an eye blink in geological time. The abrupt appearance of these organisms conflicts with the slow, incremental changes predicted by Darwinian evolution. Moreover, population genetics models show that the time available is orders of magnitude too short for random mutations and natural selection to account for the emergence of entirely new body plans and complex structures. This mismatch between the rapid geological evidence and the slow Darwinian processes exposes a significant gap in the theory's explanatory power. Molecular biology and the necessity of new genetic information. Modern molecular biology has revealed a level of complexity within cells that Darwin could never have imagined. Creating new forms of life requires not just minor changes to existing genes but the emergence of entirely new proteins and molecular machines, each requiring precise sequences of amino acids encoded in DNA. This process is akin to developing new software code to perform an entirely new function. The cell is a sophisticated information processing system, and introducing new functionalities requires vast amounts of genetic programming. Darwin's theory primarily explains modifications to existing structures, but generating new biological machinery involves the creation of entirely new genetic information. This profound challenge underscores the limits of natural selection and random mutations as the sole drivers of complex innovation. The combinatorial challenge, the odds of functional proteins. One of the most formidable barriers to purely Darwinian explanations is the staggering combinatorial challenge of protein formation. Proteins, the workhorses of the cell, are composed of long chains of amino acids, and even small proteins contain hundreds of amino acids. The number of possible amino acid combinations for a typical protein is astronomical. For a chain of 150 amino acids, the possible sequences exceed 10 to the power of 195. Functional proteins, those capable of performing specific biological tasks, represent only a minuscule fraction of this vast sequence space. Some estimates suggest that only 1 in 10 to the power of 77 sequences of 150 amino acids has any useful biological activity. Even given the vast number of organisms that have existed on Earth, around 10 to the power of 40, the probabilistic resources available for exploring this sequence space remain far too small. This stark improbability challenges the idea that purely random mutations, even guided by natural selection, could realistically generate the wealth of functional proteins needed to produce new cellular structures and life forms. Developmental constraints. The lethality of early mutations. For major evolutionary innovations to arise, changes must occur early in an organism's development, affecting fundamental body plans and organ structures. However, mutations at these early developmental stages are almost universally lethal. Early mutations tend to disrupt the basic architecture of an organism, leading to non-viable offspring rather than new, viable forms. On the other hand, mutations that occur later in development, for instance, after an organism's fundamental body plan is established, may be too superficial to contribute to significant evolutionary changes. This paradox creates a major challenge for Darwinian evolution. The changes that could produce new forms are usually fatal, while those that aren't fatal tend to be minor and cosmetic. This developmental bottleneck suggests that new evolutionary pathways for generating complex body plans may require more than random mutations and natural selection. Conclusion: Darwinian evolution falls short, pointing toward intelligent design. The challenges outlined above do more than merely highlight limitations within Darwinian theory. They fundamentally falsify the idea that random mutations and natural selection alone can account for the spectacular complexity and diversity of life. The abrupt appearance of complex body plans during the Cambrian explosion, the astronomical improbabilities in protein formation, the absolute necessity of new genetic information for novel functions, and the fatal nature of early developmental mutations together present a coherent case that Darwinian processes cannot produce the large-scale evolutionary innovations observed in the history of life. These empirical difficulties point strongly to the need for an intelligent cause, one that can inject new genetic information, overcome developmental hurdles, and rapidly produce functional complexity in ways blind natural processes cannot. This is the essence of intelligent design, ID. The idea that certain features of life are best explained by a purposeful, intelligent cause rather than undirected processes. Unlike Darwinism, intelligent design does not rely on improbable, lucky, accidents or blind trial and error over eons. It acknowledges that complex systems encoded information, such as those found in the digital language of DNA, are hallmarks of intelligence, not random chance. Just as software and engineering marvels in human culture arise from foresight and planning, the intricate machinery of life points powerfully to an intelligent source. In the face of these scientific challenges, it becomes clear that the Darwinian narrative is no longer sufficient to explain life's origin and development. A new approach, one that considers the evidence for design, offers a more rigorous and comprehensive explanation for the origin of life's staggering complexity. Inspired by the Discovery Institute, with thanks. Thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe, and comment below if you agree or would like to add your thoughts. If you would like me to respond to your comment, please make a level 1 comment directly below the video. I will respond to all polite level 1 comments even if it takes me a while, due to other commitments.